Well, welcome. We're excited to have a conversation today. I have my phenomenal, great sister, Kristina, and business partner, David, next to me. And today we just want to attack this a bit of a controversial topic in our day and age about masculinity and femininity. And really, this came up because we talk about this behind closed doors. I talk a lot about this with my sister, Kristina. I've had moments where I would share with friends and in bigger group settings, and people would tell me, "Why aren't you talking about this? Why aren't you teaching on this?" And I felt unqualified to actually do it. They're like, "What do you mean? No, you're more than qualified to talk about this." And so I think it's a very controversial subject. I'm very passionate about the masculinity part. I think this last year has been very growing for me. And so today I'm excited to have this conversation, to open it up, and to, talk about both sides. What does it look like, especially in our day and age when feminism is very profound and people, they have different perspectives on women's role, a man's role, what that looks like. But I've seen a couple of things work in my life that I think were designed by God. And maybe a lot of people will not like to hear it, but I think when we truly come back to the original design is where we truly flourish in life. And so kind of want to open the floor, have a casual conversation. Kristina, what does femininity mean to you? What's the first thing that comes to mind?
Oh my
I know you
gosh.
embody this very well.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm really stoked. I'm excited. I think this is going to be the first conversation of many. I'm definitely not an expert. And I have to be honest, I only think I can talk on femininity because I've been on the opposite spectrum. I know what it's like as a woman to operate from a place of masculinity. So when you start to embody femininity, there's a big contrast. And you know there's a contrast and you know it's working because you start to attract masculinity like never before.
How did you notice that you're in masculine energy? When did that even? I feel like a lot of people, they might not even pick that up. Where did that happen? Like,
I think a woman who's in her masculine, she's always go, go, go. She's always in her doing. She has a really hard time to be. And another thing that you notice is that a man doesn't even feel safe to open up in front of you.
interesting. So is that a sign? Like when a
It's
man starts to open up his heart to you? Huh, we're learning some stuff here, David.
Interesting.
if a woman is feminine, she's going to create an atmosphere where a man is going to feel comfortable to be himself. He starts to goof off, starts to make jokes. He starts to kind of tease you.
Interesting.
You pull out this little boy playful side, but at the same time, you pull out the king in him.
Wow.
And the biggest indicator that I knew that femininity is working is when not just single, but married men were in their high masculine. I don't even know what it's like to open up my own door.
That's good.
And if I do, it's a missed opportunity for the man nearby. That's it. Or there's no man inside in my sight. And I think the beauty of the feminine is that her energy rewards the masculine.
This is true.
Like it's, like when you look at a little girl, right? I have three nieces, but I have two that are able to walk and they have personality. When you bring them a little candy, they get so giddy excited. And even as an adult woman, I love and I live for the reaction. I'd give them 500 pieces of candy. If a woman understands the secret in that, she will understand that her energy is the greatest gift that she can give to the masculine. And she will always embody the feminine energy. And she'll always reward the man, not by doing, not by giving him something, but by just being who she is. And he's gonna always be in her presence and bring the world down for her.
Yeah, I think if truly, yeah, you're kind of taken aback, huh? There's some stuff there I've never heard like that in my life. But I think there's a big disconnect, and I know that you've studied this a bit about feminism and the beginning of the movement. I think a lot of feminism now is independency because I think there's like a competing aspect to compete with men. But if only women realize the power they have on the inside of themselves with their feminine energy, and that a man would move mountains. I even heard this one thing. There was a couple really rich Jewish men, and they asked them, "What's the secret? Why are you so rich?" And they said, "I love my wife too much." And I think if truly like women would realize the power they have on the inside, oh my goodness, they would not even try to compete in this whole feminism
That's
stuff.
interesting, Christina, that you bring up a playful side to men whenever they encounter femininity. If I think back experientially in my life, when I've opened up the most or felt the most intimate uh, with a woman is when they were operating in their feminine and they allowed me to operate in the masculine. Very interesting dynamic there in where a feminine woman creates a safe environment, a safe space. And because of that, at least I feel this way, and I assume most masculine men feel this way. If I can come home to a safe space, if there's a good environment for me to be myself, to relax, I'm motivated to go out and conquer the world.
Yeah.
I'd do anything
Yeah.
for this woman. And I said, come home to a safe space. It's not necessarily a house, right?
Yeah.
I think sometimes you confuse, not you, but people in general confuse traditional gender roles and like housewife versus man who works with masculinity and femininity. I think there is some overlap there, but I don't necessarily think masculinity is confined to a certain role or femininity is confined to a certain role. But when I say coming home, it's more the woman feels like the home instead of the house or the building.
It's the energy, it's the environment.
Yes.
It's this cultivated place of peace, rest. You could be you. You can open up and be safe. Out there, you're conquering for her. With her, you have the safety to be vulnerable, but not like I think there's also a big disconnect between a man being emotional and vulnerable. I think emotional, he just throws a lot at her and then does nothing about it.
Sure.
But I think every man deep down at some degree needs, at least I'd say for me, I don't know what you think about that, some kind of space of vulnerability to share and not to dump it on her, but just to, just to have that vulnerable area and then go out and conquer for her. Like, no, I'm not going to stay in that, but like you still need that space.
I completely agree with you. I think I like the way you draw a distinction between being emotional and vulnerable.
Yeah.
That's a distinction I haven't heard until now, but it makes much more sense as someone who considers themselves not too emotional, yet there is a need or a desire to be vulnerable. And I always confuse the two with like confused being emotional and vulnerable. And if I think about it, as a masculine man operating in society, there are no opportunities to be vulnerable.
That's true.
Like it's in the word, you're vulnerable to attack, right? But when you're out working, when you're out,
Being a leader, entrepreneur,
you constantly, I don't want to use the word mask, but you constantly have your guard up, your walls up, and that gets tiring
Yeah.
after a while. And it's nice to be able to confide in someone or to be around people or a group of people where you can let those guards down a little bit.
I've only thought about the difference between emotional and vulnerable. I'm naturally more emotional. I grew up with four sisters. I'd actually remember in our childhood, I would like cry because I'd get bullied and I would come home crying and they're like, no, you be strong. And they were the most amazing sisters ever. But recently I was thinking about that because someone kind of framed emotional as negative. And I was like, honestly, if my wife is not going to allow me to create this safe space of vulnerability, I don't think I'd survive. Like, I'm like, is there like a two different types of a man thing? And then the more that I started to look into it, I realized there's a big separation between emotional and vulnerable. I think it was Savannah. I forget her name, but I see her on Instagram. Because she mentioned something about emotional and people in the comments were like, what do you mean? And she kind of clarified. She's like, hey, it's the vulnerability part where he has that space to open up, but he's not emotion dumping like a boy that can't do anything with his life. He just has a space to let his guard down. And then because, in work, you're leader mode, you're boss mode, you're vision mode, you're entrepreneur mode. Home, you come home, it's the energy, it's the safety. I think there's a beauty of walking in and there's food, the smell of food and kids. And
Sure.
man, it's beautiful. It's like by God design. And I feel like in that environment, a man would do everything for his family,
I want to add on the power of a woman when a man is vulnerable, emotional, is not to solve his problems. It's just to listen and reinforce him and let him know he's got this. Because I think I think sometimes as women we think we need to do something with what he's doing, and you just create a space where he does dump, release himself, and you hear him, you listen to him, but then you remind him you're a king.
Wow.
and you rule, and we reign together, and you got this. And so behind the scenes, she's like a very powerful woman. She's not weak. She's not just in her soft girl era who just does sourdough bread, which I'm all about that. But there's so much more to her. She's
sure.
actually a force to be reckoned with. She knows his vision, she knows his purpose, and she knows her place in his life. And she knows that with her, he's able to conquer so much more in this world
Yeah.
because she's always backing him up.
Yeah. And a woman multiplies. You give her a house, she makes it a home.
It's in the biology.
You give her a seat, she makes you a baby. You give her some groceries, she makes you a meal. Like,
Wow.
she's always taking everything that you give her and multiplies. So if someone is upset that she's screaming or is emotional, I'm like, what are you sowing into her? Like, you know, I begin to notice this distinction. Like, if someone is frustrated with their woman, it starts with the man of what he's sown into her. So something I've been thinking about recently is a woman really just magnifies. But yeah, man, very powerful. Very powerful about the femininity and safety.
What does it mean to cultivate a woman?
Loaded question. Loaded question. I think it comes back. Everything is in the form of a seed.
Mm-hmm.
I think our words are a seed. I think gifts are a seed. Your action, your emotional presence, everything comes back into what you're sowing. And so I think you reinforcing her with your words, you loving her with your words, saying that she's beautiful, that she's gorgeous, the flowers, the bouquets, the intentionality, the spontaneous. I think it's you sowing into her seeds that then she will multiply back at you. And so I think a lot of it just comes back to your action and words and what you do and sow into her.
I think there's another element, just like the feminine creates a certain emotional or vulnerable environment for the men, for the masculine. I think the masculine also creates an environment for the women. Again, not to get too much into traditional gender roles and stuff like that, but it's tough in life. There's a lot of things going on. You've got bills to pay. You've got every day you're fighting for survival. Things are out here trying to kill you. Maybe it's not as extreme as it once was when there were woolly mammoths wandering the earth. But I think a woman's femininity could be smothered by all of the cares and the expectations of the world on her now.
Yeah.
And I think
So good.
a masculine man can create an environment, an atmosphere for the woman so that she can flourish, so that she can bloom just like a flower.
Yeah.
You know, you can't have a flower somewhere sitting in the basement with no water, no sunlight, cement instead of fertile soil. And I think it's the same thing. You're giving her the room, you're giving her the conditions as well as the resources in order to operate in a feminine way. And I think that's, you know, that could be in a number of ways.
Yeah.
But taking care of obligations for her or problems that arise. Obviously, there's a financial aspect that can be included there.
Yeah.
Making sure that the physical, she's not worrying about it. You know, you're taking charge. You're making all the decisions so that she can operate on where she's better prepared, which is sort of an emotional soul level.
Yeah. I love that you say that. I think it's the same thing. The same way that a feminine creates an environment for a man, the same way a man does that for a woman. And I think really protection and provision are some of those key things there, where she feels safe. I think that's the biggest thing. A woman wants to feel physically safe, emotionally safe. And then I also think the providing aspect, where she doesn't feel the pressure of the life where he takes those hits upon himself. For me personally, kind of what I've even noticed, I love what you were saying, that it kind of gives her this space to flourish like a flower. I still remember, and maybe for some people this is controversial, but I remember we were with some of our pastors and they asked the men a question: why do guys not pay for women? Why do they not cover for dinners? Back in our day, we would cover everything. And my initial response was, well, and thank God this was some time ago, I was there rooting for the men, not realizing I was going to go on a whole masculinity journey, and praise God for that. But I was like, first off, often women will think that you're interested in them. And looking back, that's such a sad thing in our society, that a man opening a door or paying for your bill is the fact that he's interested. No, that should be the normal. That should be the normality. That should be him cultivating and protecting and doing it because of who he is. Anyways, so I say that, hey, that they might be interested. Or the second thing is they don't have money. And pastors were like, we had no money and we found a way to cover the table. And they're like, and I love this answer in regards to, what if she will think that I'm interested or I like her? And my pastor said, he said, you don't do things as a man as a reaction. You do it because who you are. I love to say this. If the Father in heaven were to tip someone, like come to have a dinner and tip, he wouldn't tip because the service was good. He wouldn't tip because the food was good or bad. He would tip because he's good.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyways, I went on this journey and I brought Yarrow in, my friend. And we started to cover every bill that we went to.
Lucky girls.
And I remember, I look back now and I tell guys, I'm like, do this not for women, do this for your own sake. What it did in me, what it did for me. And what you say about cultivating that environment. I remember we went on a trip and we were just, like a road trip, day trip, and we were just covering everything. And I noticed how by the end of the night, they begin to bloom and become more girly and feminine.
Mm-hmm.
Remember we were sitting at dinner, almost, finishing up. I'm full, and someone's like, oh, we should get some crepes afterwards, like 7, 8 p.m. There's like this good crepe spot on the pier in San Francisco. And I'm like, what crepes? I'm full. And all the girls explode. Oh my gosh, crepes. We should go get crepes. And I began to notice, as you pay for the bill, as you take care of them, you protect, you provide, you create this space, like this space for them. They can now just be girls.
Yep. Power of being.
And that feminine is so attractive to a masculine man. And I begin to just notice how so true what you said. You create that space.
Mm-hmm.
You create that space for a woman.
I love it. I love everything I'm hearing. Music to my soul.
Yeah, but it was a game changer for me. It's changed my life. It's blessed me more, And so I begin to realize you start thinking of how to make more money. And as a result, you make more money. You stop wasting your time on pointless hangouts because you know what it's going to cost you. But now when you do go and you're like, hey, I'm going to be covering the bill, you're more present. And now activating this like father side in you where you can create and facilitate this environment. And then anyways, you allow girls to be feminine. And anyways, it comes back to masculine and feminine energy. So yeah.
Is it hard to be a masculine man in today's world?
I don't think it's necessarily difficult. I think there are some roadblocks and maybe some preferences or maybe some ideas regarding masculinity and femininity in society that make it a little bit difficult. I think for me at least, it was definitely something I had to learn. So I'm not too certain. There are obviously innate masculine qualities, but I think there are symbols of masculinity that maybe aren't so instinctual. At least for me, they weren't. If you think about things like opening doors for women, in a modern day, this has kind of become bastardized because there are so many opportunities or so many situations where women on a daily basis are opening their own doors. Women are in the workplace, they drive their own vehicles. It's not so special anymore if a guy opens a door for a woman because part of her daily life necessitates that she operate on her own and stuff like that. So I can see maybe historically how opening a door for a woman was very gentlemanlike, was a very masculine move because women weren't necessarily opening many doors themselves in public. But I think now that it happens so often, at least for me, I didn't really see much reward at first opening doors for women. I was like, what's the point if when they go home tonight, they're going to open their own doors, when they drive home, they're whatever. But I kind of recognize that now as a symbol and sort of like an act of chivalry. And things like that I had to learn over time. Things like flowers, again, another symbol. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the original idea for flowers is that you gazed upon the beauty of a woman and then you took time out of your day, you climbed a mountain, or you went in the wilderness and found specific flowers for her to match her beauty or to symbolize her beauty and present them to her. I think that over time has become a little bit
You
bastardized.
should go to Trader Joe's now.
$10, like you're already at the grocery store for whatever reason, and it feels a little bit cheap
Yeah.
from
But I feel like nowadays there's other symbols of that. Like for
Yes.
example, the lost art of like sending like mail.
Sure.
And so now writing that card for her, going the extra mile, I think really comes down to the intentionality. But I
Sure.
do think, to answer your question, it is a bit hard at times when you try to pay for a woman and she declines, and you offer again and she declines.
Yes.
Have you experienced that?
If the masculine or the gentleman like gestures are not received properly, it becomes difficult then.
I think femininity coexists with receptivity, being able to receive. So I know that you had this whole journey. How do you learn how to receive as a woman and be in your feminine energy?
I've had a very unique journey. It was hard. It took me about 6 months, I think.
That's not bad. I thought you were
Yeah.
going to say 6 years.
Yeah, shorter than some other women I know.
You know, because it's like I was in the career world and I was just super ambitious. And
What's your background,
what's my oh my
degrees
gosh.
wise?
Psychology and sociology.
Fine.
And the my favorite thing that we studied was sexuality. So I always had a pull towards like just the anatomy, the physiology, just like
Yeah.
the behavior, a man, woman, like all of that. It intrigued me back when I was 18, 19, because I finished both bachelors by age 20. And I don't think the environment that I was in was very, it didn't really teach you femininity, nor did men make it easy to be feminine. Like I was actually in an environment where they would want you to take charge and lead. And, and so I'm not blaming them, but I just don't think I was in that environment. And so, I worked in corporate America. I was a supervisor of like 15 people, high leadership.
Oh, wow. I was kind of young at the time.
I was the youngest supervisor in the whole company. Talk about fake it till you make it.
Talk about ambitious.
Talk about ambition. I mean, I definitely am a very passionate and ambitious woman. And then at age 25, I mean, with one of my physical diagnoses, I was forced to make a huge change because I had to find answers on a health level. And so I kind of set some ducks in a row, quit my job, bought a one-way ticket to Hawaii. Peace out, world.
Nice. That's a good health trip.
And
Okay.
that is a great health trip. Loved Hawaii. Indulged for about 3 months. Ghost wrote a book for someone and just completely reset my body. But then when I came back to mainland, what they call it, I realized that there's certain things that still trigger me. And I was like, man, like, yeah, I love to be in this like sunshine, ocean waves, whole food environment, and just healing myself. But that wasn't enough. And I was just I felt stuck and just things weren't working out.
What were some of those triggers? And you said like it took about 6 months to learn to receive.
That was like later in my 20s.
Oh,
I realized, and my biggest indicator is I kept interrupting people. I was like, why am I interrupting people? Like, just, Kristina, just shut up. Just sit. And I couldn't. Like, and then I realized, oh my, it's the old wiring. It's because the old environment didn't allow me to be fully heard. So I was afraid that I wouldn't be heard. So I had to quickly interrupt and say what I needed to say, because otherwise I'm going to lose my opportunity and then I just
Wow.
won't be heard. And so I had to heal the little girl in me. And so that's where my journey began. It's just realizing like, man, that girl is just so peaceful and quiet, and I'm here like feeling chirpy and jumpy. And the thing is, like, I still have a lot of energy, but God, I just love just to sit back and do nothing. And that in itself was a journey.
yeah.
And so you have to heal your nervous system. You have to rewire your brain. So give yourself time, find the right therapy, find the right counseling. The biggest thing for me as a believer is I just sat in the presence of God, just doing nothing and
That's pretty
being
good.
with him, forced my nervous system to just be okay with that.
This brings me back to realizing how much a healthy whole family is really the answer for masculinity and femininity.
Big time.
Like if you just have healthy parents, a healthy environment, healthy everything, a girl can be a girl, a boy can be a boy, go through the stages of taking on responsibility and then going and you know, conquering the world for then his family, his woman,
Mm-hmm.
his girls or children. And then even just seeing how boys model after the dad. If the dad takes care and protects and provides, you're going to replicate that in the boys, and just like realizing that a lot of it just comes back to healthy whole family.
And a daughter will always be drawn and attracted to somebody like her dad
Mm-hmm.
most of the time. So if her father didn't allow her to be in her feminine, she will most likely automatically be in her masculine and attract a man
Yep.
who wants to be mothered. And that is a dysfunctional
That
family.
wants to be a boy still.
That wants to still be a boy. And next thing you know, it's just a dysfunctional family. And then she will resent him because she'll be pissed that he can't rise up
Yep.
to the man that he needs to be without even allowing that she herself is shutting down that channel of a man rising into his masculinity because she keeps doing instead of being.
And so dysfunction attracts dysfunction because then he's just being a boy because he wasn't heard or he wasn't XYZ. And then it just keeps multiplying. That's so wild how it comes back to
Question for you,
family.
Kristina.
Okay.
You're drawing a line between a boy and a man. And there are opportunities for boys to never become a man. What's that distinction there? What's the difference between a boy who needs mothering versus a man who stepped into his masculinity and will attract a feminine woman later? What are some characteristics that boys have versus the ones that men have?
I love this question. I think a masculine man is first and foremost grounded. He actually doesn't really need your validation.
Okay.
He's not looking for a woman to, like, he doesn't like walk around and try to prove his worth, be like, oh, hopefully she'll notice me, she'll say something. Like, he's so secure in his identity that a woman adds value to who he is. So reality is he has a very strong foundation. And many times you'll see this when you're in the dating courting realm. He doesn't play mind games. He actually knows what he wants.
Facts.
And he goes for what he wants. He's not like playing between multiple women. He's just so grounded and secure. Another thing for me, this is something that, I don't know, maybe the world's gonna disagree with. He actually has his finances in check.
Praise God.
Agreed.
I truly mean it. Like, men just need to work hard.
Yes.
They need to get their finances in check. Because if you don't have your finances in check, you can't just do the basic of providing an
Yes.
environment, a house, or an apartment, a townhouse, whatever it is that, you know, you and your woman decide. So just get your finances in check and just figure out just like those core things, like create a life that you love to live in as a man, and you truly just attract a healthy feminine woman where she can just flourish in that environment. Meaning you have everything so set up that she just comes in and she just blossoms into the woman that she needs to be. At least that's what I'm looking for. I just want a secure, grounded man. He like almost like looks like he doesn't even need a woman.
Okay.
But he wants a woman. I think that's really attractive. Because I think when you're like still needing, because there's like a part of you that still needs to be like, you know, and don't get me wrong, like we all have needs and desires. I'm not against that. But like when you
I
don't,
get what you're saying, yeah.
but when you're attracting somebody in because you need them versus when you're like, I have everything in place. I just want you to be in my life. I want you to be the feminine asset. I know that everything I have with you in the picture, you're gonna multiply it. Because the power of a woman is she multiplies. That's why a woman has a womb and not a man. Because a womb can grow the seeds. It's both in biology, but it's also in life. Like he comes in with a vision. This is why it's so important to ask a man questions. Like, it's, yes, we want to hear I love you.
What's the most important
Don't even
question?
go to the do you love me? Forget that question. Forget that question. He needs to love you more than you love him.
What are,
I agree.
Is it not true? Because man, when a man loves, he does everything for you.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the question? You were about to ask a question, a follow-up question.
masculine or boy, I was gonna ask, what's the difference between masculinity, true, and toxic masculinity?
Oh, he plays mind games. Toxic, he just pulls you around. He messes with your feelings. You don't have clarity. You're always confused. Um, and I just think as like a masculine man, he's just super, I think, insecure. He's so insecure. He's like offended. It's just there's so many layers, and you just have to look at his lifestyle. Does he lead his life well? Does he have his ducks in a row? And typically, I hate to say this, there's actually an age bracket. Like I meet men that are incredible. I'm like, you just need to give yourself a couple more years.
So the
And
25 frontal cortex being fully developed is a true thing for a man,
it
huh?
is true. Like actually, I think a man should just wait till he's about 25. Like work hard in
Your
your
mama
20s.
was right.
She
Mama
always
Maria
is.
was right.
Mama Maria.
No, there's some truth to that. There really is. Like, I don't even know who I was before age 25, even as a woman. Like, there's truth to that.
That's very true.
And I actually think a woman who's very attractive to a man, she's also grounded in her identity. She's not like coming around and you're like, oh, you need to keep telling and reminding me about who I am. Like, she's so secure in who she is that everything he speaks, it adds on to who she already believes she's in.
Yeah.
So she has to embody the belief that I am God's beloved, and she lives it out. Because if a woman is deficient in her identity, she will look for it in a man.
Yeah.
And a man will never fully satisfy.
Yeah.
Only God can.
Yep.
So you have to cultivate that relationship with the Lord. And everything that a man does, it's just like, oh my gosh. I mean, I already knew that, but now that you say it, it's that kind of scenario.
So good. So good. Yeah, because toxic masculinity, I was curious about that because that's been thrown around. I heard it once. I think I was trying to, again, like there's like this weird gap between feminism and, you know, just just being a man and taking care of a woman.
Oh, and
And
another thing that I'm thinking about, sorry to interrupt, a man who's a true man, he lives up to his word. So listen to what he says and don't believe it.
so good.
Actually wait for his actions. I'm in a place in life, I swear everything a man does like says, I air it out. I don't hear it. I wait for the actions. And the moment he actions, I'm like, "Oh, that's right. I remember he said." Like the words are just very fluid,
Yeah.
but the actions, those confirm.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to look at. As a woman, you just got to look at his actions.
I think the one thing that if I could tell every girl or every woman out there would be don't open yourself up to him based on his words. Only open up to the degree that his actions back his words up. Because I think there's even a part of a man that wants to pursue. And I think sometimes, I think this comes back to being healthy in a healthy whole families, where a woman doesn't open everything up, but there's like layers where he's pursuing and getting to know her. And it's almost, there's like levels to it. You know, it's not that you're paying for something to get more access, but there are parts where you're like, hey, you don't have access to this up until your actions back it up. Not when you say that you love me, but your actions show that you love me. And so I think that's a pretty big thing that I'm seeing in dating is having the actions back it up. Because kind of what I heard, and correct me if I'm wrong, what you guys think on this, that a woman is based on what she hears, a man is everything based on what he sees. And so often girls love it when a man is a good talker. So I've even heard moments there's somebody was like saying like, how did she get hit? Like how did like, how did he get her? I mean, because his looks don't match the part, quote unquote, or whatever on the external, but really it's because they love what a man says. And so if he's eloquent with his speech, I think that's so cool. The fact that you air it out and actually allow his actions to back it up.
And I have to like say, I do notice and I will comment like, wow, you're so charming. Oh, you flattered me. Because it's the truth. I'm not saying anything that I don't believe, but I still wait. I'm like, I heard your words, but now let me see if you're going to rise up to it. When I was in Hawaii, I walked by a store called Harry Winston. I fell in love with it. It was the first time I was ever exposed to the store, and I walked into it. It was the most beautiful jewelry. It's timeless. It's iconic. Oh gosh, I think it goes back into like, I think they were established in the 1930s. So there's a lot of history and, just it's been developed over decades. And I remember I looked upstairs and the security didn't let anybody go there. But there was a man, and I would assume his wife, sitting behind a desk, and very exquisite jewelry that was very expensive was brought out. And they were, the representative was showing it up and showing it to them. The man was taking a really good look. And I remember standing there, being age 25, and observing this moment. And I fell in love. I said, there's going to be a day I will own a piece of Harry Winston jewelry. And I remember I created this dream book and I wrote down like over 350 dreams on there. And that was one of them. But one thing that really stood out to me is the most expensive jewelry is kept hidden behind a lock. And only people that can afford it have access to it. So know your worth. And number 2, a diamond in the light is multidimensional. You twist it, you turn it, it has many different colors. And that is a woman. She is a diamond. Why is the engagement ring typically a big diamond? Because she has many layers, and you can never fully figure her out. In different light, you shake it, and it changes pink, green, blue, red. It has all these different layers of colors. And like you said, a woman needs to guard her heart.
Yeah.
And she needs to vet a man. And you don't need to do it in a very harsh interview process.
Yeah.
But you really need to make sure that you are so grounded and secure
Yeah.
and healthy. Your nervous system is so well established, right? Where your norm in your nervous system isn't a toxic man, but it is actually a healthy masculine man. Where then you really just reveal only pieces and layer of yourself as you go through this courting, dating process, where he wins your heart. You establish greater trust. And then eventually there comes a moment where you fully open up your heart, right? And then you get married and you create this beautiful family. There's so much to all of that. And I think we need to go back to that as women.
Speaking of dating and pursuing and relationships, what are you guys' thoughts on pursuing versus chasing? Why is there chase? What's the difference between pursuing and chasing? And then in regards to that, like actual dating, people have different opinions. Do you pay on the first date? Do you not? Like, what are your guys' thoughts on all of this?
I think David has so much to say about this.
I can see him easing in his seat.
Okay. Well, let's start here. You mentioned the words chasing and pursuing. I feel like in the circles that I'm in, I don't hear the word chasing so often when it comes to women. When I think what I first think of when you say chasing, I'm thinking like kids on a playground, and maybe someone is it in the game of tag, and they start running after somebody. Pretty quickly you can see if they can catch up to that person or not. If they decide they can't, they lock on to the next nearest person, and then the next nearest person, and the next nearest person. And I think pursuit is a little bit different, where someone knows their own intentions, they have a goal, they have a target, and they pursue that target relentlessly. I think that may be one of the differences between chasing and pursuing. I think chasing a girl would not be limited to just that girl. I think people are chasing a feeling, or they're chasing attention, and the girl is the medium through which they experience that. I think pursuing someone is definitely more intentional, and your sights, your goal is set on the person you're pursuing themselves, and not just to get that feeling, to get that attention, to get that status. But you know what you're pursuing, why you're pursuing, and you're willing to put in the effort to pursue that person. I think that's a difference, where chasing is if it doesn't benefit you, if it's not convenient, as soon as you hit a small obstacle, you kind of back off and chase the new next shiny object.
The next high, the
The next
dopamine
high.
rush, the feeling.
I think intentionality is very important when it comes to pursuit. I think there is another level as well of exclusivity. we said a lot about femininity and masculinity during this conversation. I think there is a general level of femininity and a general level of masculinity, and there's also an exclusive romantic one. And I think you mentioned you and your friend Yarrow paying for people's meals. It's not even necessarily that you were singling certain girls out or choosing to pay for the women you were attracted to, and if you weren't attracted to others, not paying for them. I think you guys were operating out of that general level of masculinity. I think pursuit of somebody, and from male to woman, that's when you would introduce a more exclusive level of masculinity, and that would
That's super cool. I've never heard of that.
set apart certain people from other people.
To show that they're more valuable or precious.
I treat all women the same, and I treat them as
Except Mama Maria.
this is true. I treat them as daughters of God. I
So
treat
good.
them as women, as peers, as something to nurture, care for, whatever. But if there were somebody, a woman, that I wanted to pursue romantically, there definitely would be a different, deeper level of masculinity, and that just comes.
So what are some
Comes with
signs if a
intimacy.
girl asks me, what are some signs that David Perjar is pursuing me exclusively?
That is one game we are not playing. We are not putting this out on the internet. People are going to reverse engineer this. No, I think there is something to be said about treating certain women differently. I think a masculine man should respect women, and sort of all the other things that are attached to masculinity. He gets into some murky waters if he elevates certain women over the other ones. And if that is intentional, if that is what he's going for, that's amazing. Like, say, hey, this is the woman that caught my eye. I'd like to get to know her more intimately. This is why I'm a little bit more thoughtful with her, a little bit more intentional, a little bit more territorial even.
I think it's murky waters because a lost art of being feminine and masculine. And I think as soon as men are truly masculine, a lot of females are not used to that. And they start to interpret it in a different way.
Sure.
And so you're stepping into masculinity and you're paying, and they're like, does this mean that he likes me? You're opening doors. Does this mean that he likes me? Because guys don't do that. And so I think because of the lost art, that's where there's a separation. I remember we were even asked in our community, girls would ask us, and they're like, how do we know if a guy likes us or not? Like, because for girls it can be a little bit difficult. It's like, hey, how do I drop handkerchiefs but not be desperate, or not be the one to make the first move? Like, how do I know if he's truly interested in me? And I remember we were talking, us guys together, and we were like, man, if we haven't communicated it to you verbally, I like you, let's go on a date, we don't like you.
No, we like you.
No,
We're
like-
not interested in pursuing your romantic.
We're not interested in a romantic relationship.
Exclusive.
Yeah.
And I think the more we come back to masculinity, I think guys are gonna fear rejection less.
I like that.
I think they fear rejection because of lack of wholeness on the inside. And so they're so scared to make the first move. But when a man is truly masculine, his value is not in a response. He does it because that's who he is. So we see that with Jesus. He's on the cross, and his value is not in people saying no. His value is the fact that he's the Son of God. And so I think the more we come back to masculinity, it's going to be such a clear divide. If a man is truly interested in you, he's going to make it clear, not by playing games, but saying, hey, I would love to get to know you more and take you on a date. And so I think that's the other issue there, is as soon as men are masculine and they cultivate and they take care, girls a little bit freak out because they're not used to it. But if we truly came back to it, guys would be more, they would know what they want. They would be more decisive. Like, that's what I realized, like, when I went this journey of discovering masculinity and growing and all of this, I realized you become more decisive. You know what you want. Yes and no, more of a man of your words. And I think the more we come back to that, the more everything is going to come back into its rightful place, because men are going to create space for women to be girls. And they're going to bring that femininity out of them. And is that possible? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it is. I think the power, no, not I think. I know the power of a woman is when she's well taken care of. We admire to look at a woman who's well
How do
taken care
we
of.
take care of a woman well? Or do you mean that she takes care of herself
She
well?
takes care of herself.
Okay.
And the masculine isn't just your boyfriend, fiance, or husband. The masculine is life itself. The masculine is God the Father. Masculine is everything that's doing. Masculine is money. Masculine is everything that is working.
It's an energy.
It's literally an energy. And if you look around, like, you will learn as a woman that so much around you is happening, and if you are open and receptive, it will magnetically be drawn to you. And you will just be like, wow, I don't know, there's just provision in everything because you're simply open. And a woman needs to, in a way, have a moment. If she's like, I just feel like I'm always in my masculine. If she feels that, take a moment in your life and pause and become a bit selfish. Reverse the tables and actually create a space and a lifestyle where you are well taken care of, where you can be in your feminine, where you take care of your own needs. So if you're a single girl and you're just like, wow, I need to do this, do everything you can so that actually happens in your life. Because when your cup is full, you truly become attractive and you're better able to even serve the people in the world around you. And men, the masculine, will notice you and they'll be like, just something about her, just something about her. And just allow and voice it too. Don't be afraid to voice it. Like, I want, and allow life to create a way to find it for you. It's worked for me.
That's so true.
And this is very attractive as well. I've had certain instances recently where it's nice when a woman communicates her needs and her wants, and it's if done correctly, which it usually is, coming from feminine women, especially again, women in the communities we're in. I never take it offensively. I never take it like they're being needy or they're trying to extract resources from me. But there are times when, like, hey, just voice your opinion. It would be much easier for me. I'm a very logical person. I'm maybe not so in tune with emotions or detecting how you feel, or I can see there's a frown on your face. I don't really know why. I thought everything was going okay, but you got to tell me, hey, we need to stop here, or I need to grab this, or things like that. Or communicate to me, hey, you proceeded incorrectly here. Moving forward, like, take this into account, or this is how I felt when you did this. Stuff like that makes our jobs easier, but it also makes me respect a woman more because I see that she is intentional enough with me or cares enough in her interactions with me to voice her opinions, to express her needs, and say, hey, I believe in you. I trust that you can meet these needs. You just need to step into them. So yeah, a few instances recently where that was very welcomed when some women
As
express
a
their needs.
woman, what I'm hearing you say is be in tune with your body. I think as a woman, we actually need to feel our emotions. We need to feel our needs and our wants. And in a society that, I'm just going to say the way it is, like, women that are on birth control, it numbs certain
Really?
emotions. Studies
Big
show
time.
it. And she just doesn't feel herself. She naturally steps into
Wow.
that masculine
Never knew this.
role because it is artificially doing something to your hormones. They actually say women who come off of birth control,
Often lose attraction to a man?
they have a different attraction to a different type of man.
Wow.
Yes.
It's
I've heard about
proven
that.
now. And so a woman just needs to feel her needs, feel her emotions, and not numb it. And if she grew up in a home that was not safe, not welcomed, where her emotions, feelings, needs, wants were crushed, or not validated, not heard, many times she will feel like she's a burden to a man. So she needs to actually do a lot of that inner work and understand that to the healthy masculine, she's not a burden. A man is looking for, what is your need? What can I do for you? What can I provide? How can I better take care of you? And you need to be so in tune with your body where, like you said, like, hey, can we pull aside because I need, like, hey, you know what I really need from you? I need like 20 minutes of blank. Like you become so, and like I think men are so logical, they just need you to like tell him.
Yeah.
But if you're not in tune with yourself, you're not even gonna know what to tell him. And next thing you know, there's like scenarios where women just blow up. He's like,
Sure.
what happened? You were just normal like 5 minutes ago. Like, what happened? Because she's allowed things to pile up and then just boil.
I think to tie this back into the concept, again, maybe I'm very much figuring out things as I'm saying them out loud, as we're talking about it. So forgive me if they're premature concepts, but general masculinity and like exclusive, maybe more romantic masculinity, to tie in the concept you just talked about, there is a sense of romanticism when a man covers needs or affirms or supports without the woman telling them. He interprets this himself, he feels this, and he is proactive and takes care of her in a way that she hasn't explicitly expressed. We were just talking about how important it is to express your needs and things like this. I think when you that is more for the general level of masculinity. If I'm with a group of girls I don't know well, please come to me, tell me, hey, we need this, this, this. I can't possibly figure that out. But on a deeper level, you're pursuing a woman. There's something so intimate when you see something in her, a need that needs to be met, and you meet that need without her asking.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you know that she likes a coffee in the morning. You get it to her without her texting you, hey, I need a coffee. Again, there's room for both on both levels of relationships, but definitely once you build that intimacy with someone, there's something that even feels good on a man's side, and I'm sure on a woman's side as well, when those needs are met without them
Yeah.
being voiced.
Study her, get to know her.
Yeah, study her. Yes, indeed.
True. I like to make a note and jot everything down. How much does it mean to a woman when a man notices the details?
It means the world. It means I think it's actually so rare. It literally makes a woman tear up. It like I think I'm in a point where I'm just like, wow, that was so refreshing.
How can we come back to that? No, like honestly, like how can we come back? Like, is it possible? Like, what feminism has done, and what was feminism from the beginning versus now? You know what I mean? Like, is there a world where we come back to chivalry? You know, and
I
healthy
can offer
relationships.
a practical tip on masculinity. And again, as we're talking, I'm thinking back to my childhood, my upbringing, um, sort of where masculine traits developed. By no means am I claiming to be the most masculine, do everything perfectly
I
correct at all
think you very
times.
much are.
But
Agree.
I've had people point out certain masculine things in my life. I think that the family setting obviously is important for most characteristics in life. I think especially the sibling dynamic, if you have siblings, privilege of siblings, is a very important sandbox to learn masculinity and femininity. And I noticed in my life, I never took a course on how to be a man. I never asked, masculine men around me, like, hey, what do you do? Like, how are you operating like this? It's something I experimented with my siblings. I have two older sisters, and I noticed early on in life, I used to always joke, oh, I was raised by three mothers. Because the age gap is so, it's nothing insane, but I have a sister who's 5 years older than me and a sister who's around 10 years older than me, a little bit less than 10. And I always said because I was young and they were already mature and developed, it's as if I had three mothers because all of them knew how to take care of me as a mother, as mothers. As I grew older, and especially now, it's very interesting. They're older than me, but I feel older than them. They come to me for advice. I take care of them. I protect them. Things like this. I feel like an older brother, and they even explicitly say at times, the dynamic has shifted. And I notice with that shift in dynamic has come an increase in masculinity. And with your siblings, it's such a safe environment to practice. Again, I mentioned it earlier. I think it's something that's learned and something that's practiced as well. I think you can do masculinity in a certain way where it becomes toxic. I think femininity as well. Such a safe environment with your siblings in the family to practice these things. Practice taking note of things that your sisters like and making sure that their needs are met, or opening doors, or covering bills, or making them feel safe or protected when you're walking on the street, or doing anything that could be dangerous. And I noticed that this kind of evolved naturally, as well as I see how my dad brought about this change in dynamic. And it was nothing like he sat me down, said, David, you got to do this, this, this. It was more subtle, kind of like nudging me on the arm, say, hey, look, your sister is asking for this, or wants this, like, take care of it. Or saying, hey, I know you and your sisters are going on this trip. Make sure
So good.
that they feel safe. Make sure they're provided for, things like this. Make sure they don't run into any interactions with other people that might be dangerous and stuff like this. And I noticed that all of the masculine traits I may have now were definitely practiced, and there were plenty of failures, but over time, more and more successes with my siblings first.
What was one failure?
Oh God. Um, let's see. Without getting a little too into details here, there were definitely moments with my sisters where I might have overshared on their behalf, or they told me something in confidence. You know, they were vulnerable and emotional, and maybe I shared with other people, and I didn't realize. To me, you know, not a big deal, but you know, when a woman opens up to you, is vulnerable with you, you know, you kind of have a piece of her heart. And again, there's people share their hearts in romantic ways, in platonic ways. Obviously, in the sibling relationship, it's not romantic, but still, there is a form of breaking trust. You know, a sense of wronging one of my siblings because I aired out their business. And to me, it wasn't a big deal, but to them, I realized, oh, okay. So when a woman tells you something in confidence, and this kind of goes for any gender, really, um, but you have to protect not just them physically, but you have to protect them on a soul level as well, and not play with their emotions in that way. You need to be a person they can feel that they can confide in, and a person that you know, keeps their things confidential. Again, kind of like a broad example. There are some more examples there. But 100%, if you have siblings or family, it's a perfect way to experiment, to practice, and develop that. And then I noticed in my sisters as well, feminine traits and characteristics with their interactions with other people were cultivated because I stepped up. They were able to operate in the feminine, and as I was operating in the masculine.
What does success mean to a woman if it costs her inner peace and receptivity to masculinity?
I think many times society looks at success in the context of your career, how much money you make, what kind of lifestyle you've created for yourself. But I would like to propose that the one thing that many times society will not applaud is actually a woman. Yes, she can build a career. Yes, she can provide well for herself. But if she can create a space where she can operate in her feminine and actually potentially pause or let go of the idea of being independent in her career and attract and build with a masculine man. The beauty of a family unit is when a man has the vision and a woman looks for ways to support him. She takes all her experiences in life, whether it was from her career, from her childhood, from her friendships, from just experiences that maybe like she's traveled, like she accumulatively takes it all together and says, I love this man. I love the vision that he has for life. I love what he's building. How can I take all of me, come into his presence and help him build this empire. And I think that's something that women are afraid of. They don't want to let go of how hard they worked in their careers, which then they define and look for as their level of success. And if more women embody and model the ability to be a supportive wife who maybe still does have her own thing going on the side, and she has her creative projects, but that's not her main focus. Her main focus is to be in her feminine and to be that feminine presence that the masculine man needs. There's actually a really beautiful dynamic.
But I think there's an issue that arises is that women right away are like, oh, do I need to submit to him? Oh, is he going to dominate? Oh, he's controlling you. Or, you know what I mean? Like I think it's very frowned upon to be a supportive wife and to be a helper and to be in the feminine. And so do people actually want equality in relationships or polarity?
I
You know
think
what
they
I
want
mean?
polarity because polarity drives attraction.
But there'll be a lot of people that will like go against that and be like, hey, no, I want to be equal. I don't want
You
to be
are
controlled
equal.
by him. I don't want to.
You are equal. You're not less than, you're not weaker by submitting to a man.
Can you elaborate on that? Because I think a lot of women see that as a weakness.
Submission means surrender. In the culture that we live in today, I think a lot of women are so in control of their life, they are afraid to surrender. They are afraid to surrender to the masculine, either because they've been hurt by the masculine and they think that the masculine are not trustworthy and they will mislead them, or because their nervous system does not allow them to let go. Like they cannot believe that there is a healthy masculine man that they can submit to and build with. And they're like, no, 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 no. My body says this isn't safe. Because submission means surrender. And most women have not surrendered their idea of what it is to be feminine. But I think we need to actually revisit, what does femininity mean? If we view it through the original design for femininity, we will actually realize that it's never independence. It is actually dependence on masculinity, and it's like a co-partnership. And you're not less than, you're not weaker. You're beside a masculine man.
Yeah.
And you're just saying, hey, what's the bigger picture? What's the bigger vision? How can I bring all of me to support you? And that is the original design of God for the family unit.
So not where she or he competes against one another, but they complement.
Absolutely.
But I think a lot of times people in our society, they don't value the complementary role of a feminine woman, but true masculine men find that the most valuable thing ever that they would die for, move mountains for. So how would you explain that value to a woman, that truly that feminine energy where you complement, you live in harmony, not control or manipulation or competing against him, but you know what I mean? Complementing each other. Um, how would you show that value to the world, especially the feminism movement?
The beauty of femininity is her presence. But what's being rewarded in the society is not presence, it's the doing. You have to earn, you have to strive.
You do X and you get a reward for it.
But if you just be the woman that you are and you embody all elements of you, you are magnetic to the masculine, period.
And so, what does that do to the masculine man?
It gives him something to conquer and bring the world down for. A true masculine is designed to bring the world down for the feminine. And most women are so afraid to surrender the idea of what life needs to be like, that they never fully get to experience the beauty of femininity. You actually need to let go of all control of your life. It sounds crazy. And receive what life has for you. And there's this element of the unknown. And most women are actually afraid to be in the unknown. Like, what do you mean I don't know what's going to happen next? What do you mean I don't know where the money is going to come from? What do you mean? And you have to go into this unknown area where you fully just surrender and you're just like, I'm just going to let go and be. And there's so much risk there. But on the other side of risk, you actually get to taste the fruit of being in your femininity. And the true masculine, it will never sabotage you. It
Not
will
control.
not destroy you. It will not dominate over you. It will not mislead you. It will not trample you. It will not tell you that you're less than. It will actually uplift you, create an environment that you can flourish in. And he will cultivate and bring the best out of you. And most women that you talk to, they get tired of working to make a living for themselves.
Yeah.
And these are the conversations I have behind closed doors. But on the front lines, that's not what's rewarded in the society.
Yeah.
And when you actually read articles now, there are women in their 40s that said, I wish women spoke up and told me that the beauty of life is not building a career. Because I'm now in my 40s and I realized I missed out on family. And you could still have a family, it's just harder.
Yeah.
Because you're so advanced, you're so progressed, you're so intellectual that you're like, wow, my dating pool has actually become very limited. That's just the truth. And so in their 40s, they start to realize what truly matters in life. And that is family. Like, that's so beautiful to have a family. It is to have somebody that you can be his home, but you can come home to him as well. And there's that co-partnership. There's that dependency, femininity and masculinity, masculinity and femininity.
I think the art is lost there, or the value for women is lost there, because society only rewards what you build externally.
Yeah.
And so she thinks men are building, getting rewarded, and I'm not. But I think every true masculine man values a true feminine woman. And I think she holds the keys to everything on the inside of a man. Like, I'm not trying to put that in words. I feel like you have a better way to put it. We kind of go back and forth, but you get what I mean? Like, the right woman like unlocks a man and allows him to go after such ways that he would have never before. A driving factor.
Like Christina mentioned how um, presence is important, and the reward is the presence of the woman instead of what she does. And I'm thinking for myself, like, yeah, man, there's so many interesting moments or life achievements or things or vision goals that I've set for myself. And the presence of the right woman at those times is more important to me than what she does necessarily to contribute to those times. I mean, silly example, but like, you're sitting on a yacht alone. Like it's not so fun,
Yeah.
but if the presence of a feminine woman that you enjoy her company is there, it makes all the difference. And you're not even thinking, okay, how much did you chip in to rent this yacht or buy this yacht, or what happened? It's no, just you being here is enough, and I'm willing to put in the effort in order to get us on a yacht or take us on a trip here or to build a home. Um, Stuff like that. Yeah, I think the feminine qualities really ramp up the masculine qualities in men. And I think being in the presence of a feminine woman just activates something. Yeah,
Yeah.
again, like you said, in a
They're
man.
key.
Hmm.
So, what has our generation misunderstood most about masculinity or femininity?
A lot of it is just lost. Like, we're having this conversation to just actually go back to the original design of the feminine and of the masculine. And the feminine is, her presence is the reward to the masculine. That's how it was in the ancient times. Like, men went out there and they hunted, they fought wars to show a woman, like, I did this for you. And when he came back from war, her presence, her beingness was the reward to the man. And I think we just need to look at what that looks like. Like, allow a man to treat you,
So,
allow a man to take care of you. Like, trust a man enough where you could fully just surrender and and just be, where he could just be like, oh my gosh, this is so rare. I'm literally going to bring down the world for her right
yeah,
now.
it's true.
And you just do it over and over. And even if there's moments you think he's failing or he's not delivering, just to remind him of his power. It's as simple as that.
So what would change if people stopped competing and started to complement one another?
You want to answer?
There would be a synergy. Men and women, they would conquer the world together.
Come on.
The man would establish a vision. The woman would bring that vision to life, through him. He would cultivate her. She would cultivate him. It's just, I think that's the original design, the blueprint. When you operate in that original design, you reap the benefits.
Yeah.
I think women would actually enjoy it. I think most women, they haven't gotten a taste of it.
That's what I hear. A lot of women deep down, they truly just want to turn off their brain and allow a man to lead.
And it doesn't mean that she's stupid. It doesn't mean that she can't lead her life.
Yes.
It's just that she knows that when I'm in the presence of my man
I trust
or
him.
a healthy masculine, I can trust him. Like, and that's where she doesn't have to be like, did we get the car rental?
Yeah.
like, are the bills taken care of? Like, did you take the garbage out? It's like there's certain things that are just well communicated and structured where she can fully trust and rely on him, and they figure it out in a partnership way of how can we make our family function and work. And I enjoy being in my feminine. And the older I get, the more I have years behind me, the more I'm just feminine. And I will communicate it. I would be like, I just know you got this. And that's it. And you just sit back and you just put that expectation on a man. And if he's truly that much of a coward, or he's that toxic, aggressive, whatever you want to call him, in the presence of a feminine, he just won't last. He will disappear himself.
Yeah.
Your true feminine presence will drive out the toxic masculinity that so many women are worried about. And your energy, your presence, it will only attract the healthy masculine. And next thing you know, you're going to create an environment where certain things are just not tolerated. Men feel it. They feel your energy and they react to your energy. So you just need to really own who you are and just lead your life in that way. Simple as that.
So I think there's been a lot that we've discussed, talked about, and then also a lot that we've over the years learned. And if you were to go back to your younger self from right now, what's one thing, David, you would say to your younger self about masculinity, and what's one thing you would tell yourself about femininity to wrap up this conversation?
And vice versa to you too.
I'd say, David, the quicker you learn, the sooner you learn to take responsibility, take accountability for your actions as well as those around you, the better off you'll be.
I think for me, it would be the sooner you allow God to heal that inner boy on the inside of you, you'll naturally become a man. What about you?
Just be present in the moment. Enjoy the moment. Like, life is full of so many delicacies. Just indulge in them. Don't try to rush into the next thing. Don't try to think 25 steps ahead. Enjoy the present moment and like soak it up so much that people around you are like, I just love being with you.
So good.
That is the beauty of the feminine.
So good. Well, this is a fun conversation. If you guys want to hear more of this, comment down below. Comment what you think down below. What your thoughts are on feminine and masculinity. Maybe something you agree with, disagree with. Drop your comments down below. Would love to hear it. And if you want more of this, like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you possibly next time.
Thanks for facilitating this.
Thank you.
And thank you for being present. This was fun.
Yeah.
Of course.